Well, um, we know of these things primarily from a couple of different sources. One, eyewitness reports. That's our main source. The second main source is the tracks that they leave behind. Now, you can get down and you can measure a footprint. And a footprint is something that can give you some kind of a gauge as to probable height. I think Henner Fehrenbach has done some work with this, and you can look online and find charts that he's put together. Well, he'll actually take a foot size and then tell you what the relative height of that Bigfoot would be. Now, I personally, the biggest track I ever heard mentioned, or that I've seen in print, was 27 inches. Now, I mean, that's greater than 2 feet in length. That is a huge foot. And these, of course, tracks this large are generally found way up north, up in the Northwest Territories, up in Alaska, because these animals tend to follow Bergmann's rule. Bergmann's rule states that as a warm-blooded animal goes north from the equator, they get bigger. And apparently the Bigfoot do that because we've actually tested that in terms of latitude and size of feet. They do tend to get bigger as they go north. I know that Doug Hychek, when he was up in the Northwest Territories working on a documentary, and he saw a trackway that went for over a mile on a beach up there, he said that those prints were quite huge, and he said that he got the impression that the creature that had left the footprints actually, in stride, walked right over about a 6-foot tall sapling tree. In other words, the tree was right between the tracks, like it just kind of walked over it in stride without even skipping a step, a 6-foot. So that would indicate a crotch at about 6 feet high. So the Bigfoot would be pretty big. The tallest one that I've ever heard described by people was 14 feet. There were some young men down in the Antelope Valley in Southern California in the early 70s that claimed to have seen a Bigfoot that was 14 feet tall. That's the tallest I've heard described. So I think that they can get pretty big. But from what I've read and heard, they tend to be between 7 and 8 feet, most of the ones that people see, and sometimes a little bigger, sometimes smaller.